Philadelphia Eagles training camp is officially in full swing, with the pads going on for the first time this week, and with that, practices have only heated up, as are some of the players, because these three elite offensive weapons have been on fire for the Eagles recently during camp, which has only brought more speculation about whether this year's offense can be even better than last year's. Plus, we have an incredibly bold claim being made by another member of the Eagles offense. One of the Eagles' best players is back at practice, and he also made some very interesting comments recently, some regarding one of the Eagles' rookies who has been very impressive so far at camp, and on top of that, one particular Eagle has been very surprising at camp so far, but another has fans a little bit worried. So we're going to talk about all that in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So the Eagles have now been through 4 practices of training camp up to this point, and we really have learned a lot from these practices, whether it be certain players having performed extremely well, or comments being made by the players or coaches at press conferences, or just other general reports. There certainly has been a lot of takeaways from the first week of Eagles training camp. Now, through the first 3 practices, there's only so much that the Eagles could do because of the fact that they didn't have pads on just yet, but that changed on August 1st as the Eagles had their first padded practice of camp, which to many of the players is what is considered the official return of real football. And during their first padded practice, quite a lot happened, starting with several key players absolutely putting on a show, beginning with none other than QB Jalen Hurts, who even before this past practice was performing at a really high level during camp. I mean, he had been extremely accurate during the team's first 3 practices while seemingly always making the right decisions, having thrown no interceptions up to this point, and this especially was true in the team's 3rd practice, which I talked about more in depth in my last video, where he absolutely showed out with a 16 for 19 performance, and he put his elite accuracy on display. But even with this performance from Hurts being near perfect, he was able to somehow top it in the Eagles' first practice of camp with the pads on, as he went 15 for 17 on his throws for a completion percentage of 88, and he also added 2 touchdowns this time along with no interceptions once again. And Elliott Shore-Parks expanded on what made this performance so impressive as he said, quote, "Outstanding day for Hurts, was surgical with the ball against the first team defense. Touchdown pass to Brown was the highlight of the day, but made a lot of really nice/smart throws both in and out of the pocket. His last 2 days have been extremely impressive for Eagles QB." Now, I think that this is super exciting, and yes, this is only training camp, I get it, but Jalen Hurts has come out here and performed at an elite level every chance that he's gotten so far during this camp period, and many of the Eagles reporters continue to say that they've been extremely impressed with him, and specifically his accuracy during these practices. And this brings me back to a report that I've probably mentioned way too many times on this channel in the past few months from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that said that the Eagles expect Jalen Hurts to make another jump in his game this year to become an even more elite pocket passer. So when I hear that Hurts has been surgical from the pocket at training camp and that he's been constantly making the correct decision and that he has yet to turn the ball over, I feel like that's at least a small reason to be excited, because this report seems to be coming true before our very eyes. And again, yes, it is only training camp, but this is the beginning of the year. Hurts and the Eagles are laying the foundation, and I'd say that starting off camp 48 for 60 on throws with an 80% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions is the perfect way to start building that foundation. And this becomes even more exciting when you compare it to Hurts' stats through 4 practices last year, as he was 45 for 62 with a 72% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, and we all know what he was able to end up doing last year. Since he's been able to improve in camp from last year to this year, who knows, maybe that major jump from Hurts that Fowler outlined from last year to this year will happen after all. But Hurts isn't the only Eagles' major offensive weapon to continue dominating at camp, as Hurts obviously has to be throwing the ball to somebody to put up these numbers, and no pass catcher was more prominent in the Eagles' 4th practice of camp than A.J. Brown, as he has had some incredible plays, at one point making back-to-back catches, as according to E.J. Smith, he made 2 consecutive receptions on some good coverage from James Bradberry, one being a perfect back shoulder throw from Hurts, and the other being a nice stop route. And A.J. Brown also caught 2 touchdown passes from Jalen Hurts, both of them being deep shots, as one was a 40-yarder over the middle where he beat All-Pro James Bradberry, who has had a really nice camp up to this point, might I add, and another where he beat Bradberry again, this time for 60 yards. Now, I do think it's important to mention that we shouldn't be worried about Bradberry getting beat so much, as he's had a great camp so far, as I just said, and Thomas R. Peterson made sure to remind us, quote, "Before worrying about A.J. Brown catching 2 long TDs against James Bradberry today, remember All-Pro JB had the lowest passer rating allowed, 51.8, in the league despite 6th most targets, 98. The Hurts to AJ connection is just that good. So yeah, don't worry about JB at all, but it really was just a dominant day for A.J. Brown. And the other member of the Eagles' elite receiver duo in Devonta Smith had a nice day as well, making a few good plays. 1 in 7 on 7s where he caught a nice 15-yard pass from Hurts and a couple more in 11 on 11s, including a red zone TD from Hurts to start the period off, and a nice 20-yarder where Hurts led him perfectly over the middle to the sideline while on the runs. So overall, it seems like both Smith and Brown are having great camps, and people are taking note, like Elliott Shore-Parks, who said, quote, "It isn't breaking news, but A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith really are the best duo this team has had at wide receiver. It shows every day in practice, but especially today. Brown had a long TD, Smith got wide open for a TD in the red zone. Hard to imagine Eagles ever having a better duo." And now both will look to carry over their phenomenal performances from last year and this training camp into the start of this season. But they aren't the only Eagles who are having impressive camps that are looking to have great seasons, as we have plenty more news regarding that. And don't worry, we're going to get into all of it. But just first, real quick here, I just want to say, if you are enjoying this video and want to see others like it coming in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Around 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're one of those people, you've been consistently watching the videos, you're enjoying them, you like the training camp coverage, and you love the Philadelphia Eagles, make sure you fix that right now. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss when any other videos are uploaded. I think that's a win-win for the both of us. And now with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So one other Eagles offensive player that has turned some heads at training camp is Quez Watkins, in part because he has been really good so far at camp, particularly having a great third practice, but more recently, it was his comments that had some people talking, as after the fourth practice of camp, he reportedly said, quote, "I'm an elite receiver." Now, of course, we know, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all, that's just not true. Quez is coming off a disappointing year, and even if he did play more towards the level that he played at in his best year so far in the NFL, which was 2021, that's still not nearly enough production to be considered elite. But however, I do like his attitude, I do like the confidence, and I like his mindset, because as a professional athlete, you need to be confident in yourself. You need to have the belief that you're at that elite level. Of course, you still have to put in the work that goes with that, and it seems like Watkins has also done that as well. So now, of course, he's looking to have a bounce-back season. So will he do it? Let me know your opinions down in the comments, and what do you think about his recent comments saying that he's an elite receiver? Now, another player that has made some interesting comments recently is edge rusher Haason Reddick, as he has been back at practice for a few days now after being held out for a bit with a minor injury, and after yesterday's practice, he said a couple interesting things, at one point hinting that he may be a little bit underpaid, which he probably is, so maybe at some point the Eagles look to rework his contract a little bit. I'm really not too worried about that at all. I mean, the Eagles generally tend to figure those things out. And then moving on, at another point, he discussed the fact that maybe he is a little underappreciated and underrated, as sometimes people forget about him when talking about the NFL's best edge rushers. But regardless of this, he said that, quote, "I'm done talking like I have anything to prove to anybody." And you know, that's totally fair, because he definitely doesn't at all. He had 16 sacks last year, and he's been consistently one of the best pass rushers over the last 3 seasons. Now, I'm just curious when he'll finally get the respect that he deserves, because at the end of the day, he's one of the best defensive players in this league right now. There's absolutely no question about that. He has the production, he has the impact, he has the numbers, but still somehow he just doesn't get the respect he deserves. So I'm just curious when he's finally going to get that. But speaking of getting your respect, Haason Reddick certainly gave Nolan Smith his, as he said, quote, "Love the kid. He's electric. He's going to have a lot of success in his career. He's been a sponge so far, soaking up every bit of information that he can, which I love to see. I feel that he has greatness ahead of him." So obviously you love to hear that. I mean, Nolan Smith, of course, has been compared to Haason Reddick coming out of college, so it's great to see him earning some praise from the veteran himself. And again, as we've mentioned multiple times on this channel already, Nolan Smith has been really impressive at camp so far. And another rookie who has been impressing recently is rookie Sidney Brown, who, according to Jeff Kerr, has been moving up the depth chart at practice, as he was on the second team for the first time during the fourth practice after getting all his reps with the third team previously. So we'll see if he makes another jump to get some first team reps soon. But a surprise player at the safety position who has made that jump to get first team reps is K'Von Wallace, who apparently, like I just said, got a lot of first team reps at safety recently, and he's taken advantage of them, as he's looked pretty good so far, with his most impressive day being on the fourth practice of camp, as he had an interception on Marcus Mariota. So with Wallace impressing and getting a lot of first team reps, what do you guys think? Do you think that he has a legitimate chance to start? I mean, I really don't know, man. I guess we'll see. The safety position has been rotating a lot, apparently, with a bunch of different guys getting first team reps, but someone who has remained there pretty much throughout all of training camp is Reed BLankenship, so it seems like he might be almost a lock to start at safety at this point. But however, we still must remember defensive coordinator Sean Desai's philosophy, in which he said that he's not a guy to lock people in with certain teams, and he just wants to give everyone reps regardless of where it is. Doesn't matter if it's first, second, or third team, he just wants to see everybody, get people on tape, evaluate everyone, and make sure that everyone gets their opportunity. So I don't know, maybe we shouldn't be reading into this stuff too much, but it certainly does seem like the battle at the safety position is heating up, and so is the battle at linebackers. Christian Elliss has gotten a lot of first team reps as of late alongside Nakobe Dean, so who knows, maybe Elliss has a chance to take the starting job tomorrow if he continues impressing. But someone who fans are hoping starts impressing soon is Nakobe Dean, as he's been pretty quiet throughout camp so far, and it's kind of starting to worry fans. But however, there is also reason for fans not to worry, as he's been praised a lot during camp by coaches and players, including Nick Sirianni, Sean Desai, Josh Sweat, Reed BLankenship, and Nolan Smith. So even with Dean kind of being quiet to start off camp, maybe we shouldn't be too worried, or then again, maybe we should. I don't know. So I guess we'll see on that. I mean, as camp continues and we get more practices where the guys got the pads on, we're definitely going to hear a lot more about Nakobe Dean and how he's doing. And just overall, as camp continues to heat up, we're going to keep learning more and more about this team and get a lot more news. So if you don't want to miss any videos like this one covering the Eagles at training camp, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. And also, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like on it to show some support, and give me your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, pretty much regarding anything I talked about in this video. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on it. And also, if you're one of the people that watches these videos but doesn't necessarily watch my shorts, I make a bunch of those, so if you're interested in these videos, you enjoy them, I'm sure you would enjoy those as well. So if you're interested, make sure you check them out. And also, if you want to watch another video going more in depth on the Eagles offense at training camp so far, you can go watch it right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.